I do think that we should talk a little more about, magic
Yeah.
and witchcraft and that sort of stuff and the reason why there is, and this is just kind of a little light bulb moment for me,
Hmm.
because like we're talking about all this other stuff and it's like, well, what's the difference? Well, I think the difference is a lot of movies that are made for kids, they don't have that terrible language or the
Sure.
sexual stuff, but a ton of them do have magic and whatever, witches and wizards and all like Harry Potter type stuff. I know
Hmm.
those movies ended up, were those PG or were those PG-13?
I think
I
the
don't know.
last few were PG-13, but
Yeah,
then in the beginning they were PG.
but obviously the books and stuff, and I don't know, what do you think? Do you think, and obviously you're not at that point yet where you have a child old enough to be cognizant to take
Hmm.
these things in, but do you think you're going to care whether your girl is watching a movie with, let's say, witches in it? Or, yeah, anyway, I guess we'll ask that first.
I will take a roundabout answer.
There you go.
I remember listening to a sermon, and the pastor was talking about how to approach certain issues. And if your kid decided this, or if your kid said this to you, what would you say? And basically expressing different challenge people that challenge his faith or challenge him as a Christian. And he said that's not going to happen because we don't even acknowledge those things. No, so I think with magic, it's just something that I'm not going to tell her or any of our future kids nothing with magic. Magic is bad. I think I probably just won't watch it. I just won't have anything like that around. And maybe as she gets older and actually asks questions about why, I'll be able to work through it with her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think instead of, starting a movie and then it happens to have magic and they immediately turn it off and throw an angry dad fit or something, I don't see myself doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So what if a character in the story is a witch?
Yeah, I just wouldn't have those kind of movies on.
Okay, none at all.
Probably not.
I don't know if you realize how many kids movies have. So what about Wizard of Oz?
No.
No Wizard of Oz.
Well, yeah, because you have the good witch and the bad witch.
You do,
So,
and the
I
Good Witch is only in there a little bit,
yeah.
but there is the.
Yeah, I guess I just because magic is a very spiritual thing biblically, I wouldn't want to push positive or negative views of it.
Mm-hmm.
As in if it's represented with goodness in something, um I guess I'm not sure how I would handle it if the villain was some sort of witch and that's it. The good
Mm-hmm.
guys didn't use magic or something.
That's what I was thinking about. Like, what if only the bad character
Hmm.
engaged in that stuff and then was defeated by the end?
I'll say maybe, but to be intellectually consistent, I'll still say no.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I just think of movies when I grew up watching Halloween Town, for example,
I did see that, I believe, a few times.
and how she got excited about finding a pentagram. And I went,
Oh
woo!
yeah, you had mentioned that. I didn't
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah. So there,
Yeah, oh yeah, that's like, to me, when you get to that point, that's
mm,
like not even a question.
mm-hmm,
Because that is a real, I mean, obviously witches are real or whatever. People who want to be witches or, there are spiritual forces in the world. But like that is an actual symbol that's
mm-hmm,
used in witchcraft.
yeah,
But let me ask you this though.
sure,
Okay, how about the Lion King? Because the Lion King has what, Rafiki,
okay.
who does do some stuff. They don't call it a spell, but like he does some stuff, and there's some spiritual things that happen. Right? Isn't that right after he has the encounter with his dad in the clouds? Wasn't he first with Rafiki?
Well, Rafiki bonked him on the head.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was some.
But he does some chanting and stuff, and he's jiggling around the thing with the mangoes on it. I don't know what, but
Uh,
you know what I'm saying. His
yeah,
staff.
yeah, yeah. That's probably safe to me
Okay.
because, and my defense is simply it doesn't depict real people. Nobody's real. Animals don't
Cause
talk. Monkeys
okay,
don't do magic. You know, lions don't run away and befriend meerkats.
okay,
So that's kind of how I would view that. But then if you even if it's a cartoon with real people or it's a movie, a live action movie, that's where I think it's kind of murky territory that I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily be careful. And I can't think of another movie off the top of my head that's got an animal that does witchcraft or anything like that. I'm sure there's plenty. But I just think animals, unless it's a crazy violent or crazy language movie, I think those are generally safe because animals can get away with those things because you even as a child you can say, "Oh, monkeys don't do that," and these guys don't do that.
Yeah. Now, let me give you one more example
Okay.
because I'm well versed in children's movies at the moment.
Hmm.
What about there's a movie called it's not that old, I don't think. Is it called Coco or was that a different one? It's a Disney movie
Is
or
that the one
some.
about the kid with his dead relatives?
Yes,
Mexico and the Day of the
yes,
Dead and all that?
yes. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay, I have.
Okay.
So what happens is, spoiler alert,
Spoiler alert for Coco.
that which spoils alert. Now, he ends up there's the Day of the Dead thing, and the kid ends up dying,
Hmm.
but it's like prematurely, and he goes to the place where all the spirits go, and then he's in that world interacting, and
Sure.
then eventually he comes back or something. But it's stuff because this topic, one reason why it's interesting to me is, of course, because our children are at the age where they watch movies, but we've had them for like 10 months now, so it's still new, and we do the movie night each week,
Yeah.
and my wife and I, we talk about this, but we haven't set up specific. I mean, we obviously have things that they won't watch, but we haven't set a specific thing as to like when it comes to spiritual stuff that's non-Christian. And
Yeah.
basically any movie that you watch that's secular that has any sort of spiritual element, it's going to be wrong.
Hmm.
Almost all of it, right?
Yeah.
So we did watch that movie, but when it came to the point where they start walking into like the land where the spirits are, whatever, we paused it, especially for our younger one.
Hmm.
We're like, now is this real? Is this actually what we went through, like, this
Oh.
is not true. This is a made up story. There are some people who think that this is how it works, but they are wrong.
Hmm.
What happens when people actually die? We like went over
Oh.
what the true, and then we continued to watch the movie. But I'm not saying that I like that. Like, I'm not 100% sure going back in time, you know, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way to do
Hmm.
that, whether we would have even watched the movie.
Hmm.
But what do you think? What about that movie?
I'm definitely not familiar with Day of the Dead and that kind of spiritual stuff. I would say it's wrong if it's it's not
Well,
Christianity,
sure.
for
Oh, yes,
sure.
it's incorrect.
Yeah. I I can't imagine there's a lot of different alternatives, so I don't think we would choose that one. I have seen things about that movie and movies similar to it, and there's the new movie Soul that
Yes.
has a lot of spirit, basically every other theology except Christianity involved in it, and there's a lot of stuff about chakra and your
Yes.
soul, and souls transferring bodies and things like that. And
Yes.
yeah, and I haven't watched that movie either, but I've actually have looked into it specifically because it was just the newest movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, and I saw the name of it, Soul, and I thought that was interesting. But I mean, it doesn't. I don't think it ever really hurts if you have the opportunity to screen a movie before your kids see it. And I certainly wouldn't want to have to regularly stop a movie to say, now this isn't really what happens. Um, but when they're younger, it's probably better to do that because I think of when I was younger, the big movie was Airbud. And, my parents didn't have to say, now dogs don't really play basketball. But that's because, you know what I got that.
Yes.
There are certain movies that you can get. And then there are other movies where they involve spirituality and supernatural things. And being a Christian, we do believe in the supernatural.
Oh,
You know,
sure.
we believe that, you know, God is sovereign. We believe a lot of things, and we have opinions about witchcraft and magic and souls and death and life after death and things like that. So it is important to guard against things that would be contrary.
Okay, so you're saying you wouldn't watch it.
Oh,
What?
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I probably no. I thought I said that. I said I wouldn't. I don't think there'd
It
be a
wasn't
reason for me to watch it.
it wasn't clear.
Oh, I I'm not gonna put on Coco.
A primary issue is because for the world, having something about like the Day of the Dead and
Hmm.
like where the souls go and stuff,
Hmm.
that's no different than a dog playing basketball because both are utterly ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like if
Hmm.
you believe that you just die and you go on the ground and there is no spiritual element to life,
Hmm.
or of course most people do think that there's spiritual element to life. It's just, well, if you're a good person or if you're my relative,
Yeah.
you go to heaven when you die, and then
Or
you
if
watch.
it's
And
a friend.
yeah, if you're someone that I know and love, or you were a good person, and I didn't know you, but you were a good person, you're you go to heaven when you die, and you
Hmm.
watch over us, like, and you become an angel basically, and you
Hmm.
watch over us. I hear that stuff all of the time. There's no book that holy book that you have that you're adhering to. It's just basically whatever you believe.
Hmm.
A child of a couple who are not spiritual or religious in any way, they're not going to think anything about these because it's no different than a dog playing basketball. It's just
Hmm.
some made up thing that has no
Sure.
bearing on reality, and it's just a fun story.
Hmm.
But yeah, we have to be thoughtful about it. So anyway, that's something that we are still working with when
Hmm.
things have the supernatural element, and because man, it's just so much.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say one of the ones I'm on the fence about is one of my relatives who might watch this. Um, their favorite Disney movie is Sleeping Beauty, and
Yeah.
you have Maleficent and the Fairies.
Yes, and I was
So,
gonna say we watched that last night, but it was Snow White. We
oh,
watched Snow White, which of course that has like a poison apple,
hmm,
which well, I guess poison's real, but
hmm.
anyway.
I grew up with Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and Aladdin.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, good singing, Sean. I
I can show you the world.
I sing that too
Oh,
often.
you do the Jasmine part. Come on.
Oh, nah.
Oh wait, no, he still says that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue. I'm ruining this.
I don't have the I don't have the desire to watch Cinderella. Even this was, you know, Cinderella's got fairy godmother. Yeah, so I don't have the desire to watch those mostly because I am a man and I didn't grow up with those movies. Those are aimed towards like little girls.
Oh yeah, sure. But yeah, once you have a little girl that wants to watch them,
Yeah.
then you have to, or you at least have to think about whether you're gonna.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Sure.
where it's tough for me because again in my head those aren't the ones that come to mind. You know, Alice in Wonderland isn't at the front of my mind even though my wife thinks it's a yes and I think it's a no. That
Okay.
one specifically.
Yeah.
I said, "We're not putting that on. Get that out of here."
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's so much there's so many movies with magical elements and it's important for us as adults even to watch what we're taking in and rem- I think when you just mentioned that you pause a movie to tell your youngest daughter this is absurd, just so you know this doesn't really happen, we should take that in too. Not just with sorceress magic, but anything where there's after death. And some Christian movies look at things similar to what you described with heaven gained another angel and happy birthday to so and so in heaven, and they visit you and talk to you and inspire you. And I don't think that happens. At least that's not my experience that it's that it's happened or that God could use that in a very fulfilling way.
Well, yeah. Not that people turn into angels,
Hmm.
because that's definitely not true.
Yeah.
Yes.